Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast, Sambassador Friday Fun Day edition with your host, Sam Byler. And I'm here at Woody's 40th anniversary, trucking anniversary party, and did a podcast with Woody earlier today and got him to put his story down, so that's going to be cool. One of the first times I came here to visit Woody, we were down here in this basement, and we had a Brotherhood board meeting, and I met this guy from Canada, of all places, and I think that was in 2019 or the beginning of 2020, so it's been about 4 years ago. JP, why don't you introduce yourself and your son and tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll make the connection of how you got to know Woody.
Yeah, my name is JP Giasson. We're from Ottawa, Canada. I'm here with my son, Scott. He's our main hauler up in Canada and trains everybody. And we have Kodiak Sheds. We have 5 locations in Ontario. And yes, you're right. We did. First time I met you was in this basement, and I remember bringing maple syrup for everybody because I knew I was going to meet everybody. So
I wondered if you were going to remember that.
I certainly did, because we make maple syrup right on our farm.
Yeah. So, you make yours on your farm. So you have a leg up on those other guys up there that try to push their syrup on us too, but
they're just buying it.
They're just buying theirs. You actually make yours. So you're the legit people when it comes to the syrup. Yeah.
Yes, we certainly do.
We can trash talk him because he's sitting over there behind the camera right now.
Yes.
So yeah, the Goosens episode just came out last week. I got to listen to it yesterday on the way up here. And the cool thing about when people tell their stories, I feel like a lot of you guys, I know you pretty well, and I kind of know your shed story, but I'm privileged in the fact that I get to hear those stories when a lot of people don't. But it never fails. I learned stuff that I had no idea about. And even last night we were sitting there talking, Woody asked, why is his last name Freedom? And,
yes, that's right.
we talked about the whole truck convoy thing and the bridge shutdown and all that. And it's all part of our stories. All of us have a story, and all of us have pieces in our story that need to be told. So, yeah, that was cool to get to meet you here. How do you know Woody?
Well, I was actually telling Esther, his wife, that I've known and helped us out quite a bit over the last 4 or 5 years. We were down here, and I ended up seeing a truck that went by, and it said Woody's Transport, and I literally looked it up on my phone and got his number, and I called him. He was driving, and he picked up, and we spoke, and I said, would you haul up to Canada? And he certainly did, and so yes, he was hauling our sheds up to Canada for us from down here in Pennsylvania. And then the pandemic happened, and there was a lot of issues crossing the border and all that stuff. But Woody was still able to cross into the border, and I was just mentioning it to Esther and Woody's son, and he did 139 loads that summer for us. It was it was wild.
Wow. It's kind of weird. I knew he was able to keep going across the border when it didn't seem like anybody else was able to.
I don't know. I guess it had to do with being a hauler and a trucker, and there's no reason other companies like Amazon was still bringing stuff across the border. So why couldn't we bring sheds? And so that really, we couldn't keep sheds in stock, and it was awesome. It was amazing.
Yeah. So how long you been doing sheds?
We've been doing sheds. This is our 15th year of doing sheds.
All right. And you've always got them from around here, or
Northern New York State is where we get them. We literally bring them into Canada.
All right.
We did for a few years, build them in Canada, but unfortunately, it's the Amish just really like to work.
Yeah.
And they make a great shed. They're handcrafted, beautiful sheds. And I guess up where we are, we just couldn't find the craftsmen and framers to really work and take pride in their work. So we just stayed with the Amish in northern New York State, and we've actually opened our own plant right in Alexandria Bay, New York, just off of Interstate 81, and that was 2 years ago. And so it's been.
So everything's pretty much coming from there now.
Everything comes from there. We don't build any in Canada. They're all built in northern New York and here in Pennsylvania, and then brought up to Canada.
So explain to me the process of taking sheds across the border from one, like you're building them in the U.S. and you're taking them and selling them in Canada. Is that, once you figure it out, is that a pretty simple system, or do you deal with a lot of paperwork you have to deal with, or?
It's very simple to do. Woody does it a little differently. He deals with our broker, and so then he doesn't have to stop. He literally just scans his paperwork at the border and just comes to whichever location it needs to be dropped at. For our semis, when our drivers come, we actually do what they call a B3, and they clear it at customs.
Okay.
And then they bring them in, pay the taxes, and it's very simple. But again, it's intimidating for people that have never done it before. But as soon as you know how it's done, it's very easy and doable.
Yeah. So I used to truck over the road more back in the 90s and early 2000s, and I'd run back and forth across the border all the time. Always had to have all my paperwork and barcodes and all that stuff. It just seemed to me like I couldn't even imagine having to haul my own product back and forth across there, but sounds like it's fairly simple. Scott, where do you land in this? Are you one of these? So I grew up in construction with my dad, and always wanted to drive trucks. We weren't allowed to drive trucks. That was Woody and I actually talked about this. My dad would have been one of the guys that says, just don't ever buy a Peterbilt. Drive a pickup truck with a long trailer. Do whatever you have to, but when you buy a semi, all of a sudden you're not a family man anymore. I raised a family driving semis because I didn't like swinging hammers anymore. But then every couple of years, I'd make enough money to where I didn't have to be on the road anymore, so I'd go back to swinging a hammer, and then I'd run out of money, so I'd go back to trucking again. I did that. So you grow up in a. So I'm doing a little bit of math. You pretty much knew sheds your whole life.
Pretty much, yeah. It was just like once I could kind of. It was like growing up on the farm, just with the trucks and tractors and stuff. I always kind of like passion for like driving equipment, I guess. And once I guess I was like old enough to kind of hold the remote, I guess I was just with my dad pushing buttons, helping back up and stuff, and then helping strap. It wasn't probably the tightest strapping. You'd have to double check it all and make sure it's done right. But that's kind of what I did, is just followed him around. So is that what you're still, are you like delivering sheds now? Or yeah,
what?
I'm mainly just a home delivery guy. So
Okay.
I just pick them up at our lots and then deliver them to the houses. Right now I'm kind of all over the place. I'm learning like a lot of background stuff as well. So just kind of the background of the owning a business and running a business. So, we have some other guys just kind of doing what I was doing, but mainly I still deliver though, delivering it to houses.
What kind of equipment do you use?
We have 1 ton, just GM trucks.
Okay.
We're big GM fans up there, so we all have.
So that you're trying to hide the one you have now under all the decals.
Yeah, we have a big wrap on them all. So
nice. So the rest of them are wrapped.
Yeah, they're all the
Cool.
exact same. We actually have 1 Dodge too, one ton Dodge, 1 Ram.
Well, you don't have to make it sound like you're apologetic about it or anything. Somebody has to do the work at the end of the day and pay the bills.
But yeah, we have was it 6 trucks? 6 trucks now, and then all Pine Hill home delivery trailers, and they all go to 40 feet, and that's kind of what we do is
Mules?
Just that. We have 2 mules.
2 mules?
We actually charge for the mule as well.
Okay.
Up there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, and we don't do any blocking. It's all
No blocking?
no blocking.
You wouldn't last long in South Carolina.
No, it's all like gravel pads. I mean, the homeowners are responsible of doing that,
Yeah.
and they get all prepped for us, and then we just back up and drop. I mean, I guess we have it pretty easy compared to some of the guys on the haulers page and stuff.
Yeah,
Seeing some of the pictures are pretty interesting, but
I've grown up blocking sheds. That's all I do. I helped Abner twice, and both times he got his mule stuck trying to get up the pad. And I said, "You can have gravel pads. I don't want anything to do with them." Well, and they weren't level either. That was the other problem.
Yeah.
So then you still end up having to try to put little shims in. I was actually talking to a guy the other day, and both of us would actually prefer to block a shed 4 blocks high.
Wow.
That's sacrilegious to some people, but this body don't fit under a shim,
I'm the same way.
and it doesn't even fit under a 4-inch or an 8-inch block. So I personally just soon set them up on 4 blocks. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
And back in the day, before we had Facebook, we used to, these guys that post up now and they're like, the block police are coming because it comes up to about here or somewhere like that. I've got sheds I can put a cowboy hat on and walk underneath of. It's just that's what you did. It didn't matter, and they're still there. They stay there. So no blocking.
no.
No blocking.
So do you guys do any? Have you ever talked about? Obviously you're business guys. Do you talk about doing your own prep work for pads? Do you do pad work?
We do that as well.
You do that as well?
Ground prep and stuff.
Why did
so.
I should have known.
It's like before kind of sheds like kind of went crazy like over the pandemic and stuff. We did landscaping and interlock and stuff for like doing all the block work. So we had all the equipment like dump trailers and little tractors and packers and stuff like that. So it was kind of like, well, I mean, we could do both. So
Yeah, that's JP. Tell me, I know you got some other stuff goes on that you're just not happy just doing sheds. Where do you come from in your past that gives you the drive to? You're a little bit like me. Like you got to have 4 or 5 businesses going before you're able to sleep at night. Where does that come from?
I think it came from my parents. Really, I grew up in Montreal, in the suburbs of Montreal, in Quebec, and we. My mom was into antiques, and so she would go to flea markets and so on. And I ended up getting some background of that and just a business savvy from growing up as a kid. Mm-hmm. Then I actually started in the golf business. So I was.
See, here's where these stories just go crazy.
Yes,
Golf?
exactly. Yes, so I did golf for a long time, and last night we were talking about golf, and we were going to go golfing on Monday. So I ended up learning to be a golfsmith, and I built we had a store. I used to build all the golf equipment and fix golf equipment back when it was an art with the old woods and refinishing them.
The old persimmon woods and stuff.
Persimmon woods, exactly.
I still have one of those.
Yes, they're awesome. They're very beautiful. Then it became just what I call a lick and stick, when you just put the head on the shaft and then put the grips and re-gripping. And I always liked doing repairs when people broke shafts and clubs and so on. And I always enjoyed that, but the selling part really got to me. And so you were asking about different things, and then I morphed in. I did that for 15 years, and then I got into the snow business as we did that. So I had a farm, and we up in Canada where we are, we get quite a bit of snow. So I had some background in that and got some tractors, and we did residential snow removal on the driveways, and we grew to over 7,500 clients. It was very big, and it was a lot to handle. So we've been downsizing. We're down to about 20 tractors now. We had 50 odd at the peak.
down to 20 tractors.
Yes. Yeah,
So
they're
I'm sitting
100
here thinking
horsepower.
a snow removal business. You probably got 2 or 3 tractors out there running around, and you're down to 20.
Yeah, we had 52 at the
52.
52.
One for
tractors.
every week. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
no, that was yes, that's true. But we so that's what we did, and then I was always looking for something else to do in the summertime, and we did, like Scott mentioned, interlock, and we do still the grass cutting and
You
all
still
that.
do
So
grass cutting.
we do, like the company does, but
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't personally.
Okay.
Do
Yeah,
that.
but
I don't
that's
have
what I'm
any
saying.
time.
You have
Yes.
a grass cutting business.
grass cutting and the
What's
fertilizing.
what's the best mower in Canada?
Well, it's a toss up between the Graveleys and the Toros.
Oh,
That's
really?
What we usually
Okay.
use. Yes. Yeah, they're
Fair
really
enough.
good, and we don't use any of the ride on. You can stand up on them.
Yes.
but those they're all kind of zero turn.
Yep.
They're all residential. There's some small commercial, but they don't like the tire marks. So we try not to have that in our for our clients.
So
But yeah, so it morphed into sheds to get
Yeah.
to the to that point, and yeah.
So you're Scott. You're on the shed side. You're not on the snow removal side or the lawn mowing side.
No, I stay out of the tractor. I can't stand sitting in a tractor for. I mean, I'm like a backup, I guess.
Yeah,
they really
if you
need me,
if you
then
really
exactly, I'll go in. But I mean, I'm happy standing in the cab of a tractor for like 18
Yeah.
hours, sitting there waiting for plows and everything. Just
I got you.
it's not fun.
So yeah, you said you grew up on a farm. I'm guessing ag farm or not a dairy farm, but
no horses.
horses. Okay.
Yeah,
So you had a
horses,
lot
we
of
did some
hay and
soybean.
stuff, or
Yes, we do our hay, and we did soybean, but now it's just strictly hay.
okay.
We just, there's maybe 120 to 150 round bales and
Mm-hmm.
a couple thousand small squares, but that's all just to feed because we have a horse boarding facility as well. So
Okay.
it's not just
Oh,
our
that's
horses.
you just happen to have a horse boarding facility. Is there anything the man doesn't do? Like, what do you ever?
We do storage as well.
Yes, that's right. We do storage.
What do you store?
Well, people's boats
boats.
and cars, and I'm into.
I didn't know Canadians
cars.
had boats. I thought they had there's ice all the time.
Oh my goodness! You have to come up to the Great Lakes. We were just talking about that. Thousand Islands. It's beautiful fishing, and
So I'll pull something out you won't know about me, but I used to go to Red Lake every year.
is that Red Lake, Alberta, or Red
Red
Lake,
Lake, Ontario.
Well, that's way
That's
up north.
way up there.
Way up there. My
And-
son was working up there.
Yep.
in
Every
the
time
mines.
you popped over a little hill or ran around a curve, there was another lake. They're everywhere up there. And yeah, we'd go into Red Lake and we'd do street Bible school for like 3 weeks at the Indian reservations. And then we'd all pack up on an airplane and we'd go fly out into the bush somewhere and do some serious fishing.
Definitely.
And so yeah, I know they do. It's just, most people think Canada's froze all the time.
Certainly not.
And then Alex, he likes to brag on the fact that he lives further south than a lot of the Americans do. So it's like,
That's
whatever.
true. He's right down there.
So snow would be a little bit, I guess what I think of is it's a little bit like running a tow truck business. When you got to go, you got to go.
It is. It honestly, I tried to shield my boys. Scott has an older brother, Ryan, who's not into the sheds. He likes the hospital thing, but I shielded them from the snow because they saw the crazy hours and anxiety. It was. It's not. It's
not for
a
the
very
faint of
good
heart.
business. No, it is not.
Yeah, yeah.
It is not. You're up at all kinds of hours and you're just watching the weather constantly.
Yeah. I've got a guy that lives across the street from me right now he's got a tree business. And I don't, 10 years ago, I couldn't have named you one tree company.
Right.
I didn't know anybody that even did tree work. Now I've got probably a dozen friends that have tree companies, and the guy moves in across the street from me. He has a tree company, and I don't think the weather's getting any worse. I think people don't do their own cleanup anymore, and then so much of it turns into insurance now that you have to deal with that. We had some bad storms come through like 2 weeks ago. And I was in Kentucky when it really hit bad. And he called me and he wanted to know if we're okay, everything's fine over there, because we had like 3 or 4 localized tornadoes. They weren't nothing big, but there was a fair amount of trees and stuff down. And I'm like, I'm in Kentucky, but I said, I've been watching my cameras and checking with my wife, wife and the girls were at home. Yeah, we're all fine. And he's like, well, he says, you won't, next 2 weeks we'll be working day and night trying to get everything off. Because if there's a tree on a house roof, you can't fix the roof until the tree's off.
Right.
And so they run ragged, for a little while. So yeah, I kind of understand, where you come from in the fact that when you got to, that's the one reason I'm not a tow truck driver is because you got to work 24/7.
Correct.
I love doing tow truck stuff, and I love the whole idea behind it. I love rollbacks and all that stuff. Just don't haul sheds with them.
No.
But I'm not. My days of getting up at, Woody gets up at 3 a.m. in the morning and goes haul sheds, and he loves doing it, and he doesn't know when he's going to quit.
That's right.
Well, I don't like that. I didn't. 3 a.m. shouldn't even be on the calendar anywhere. 5 is max, but 6:30 is a little more. And then you heard Gary last night. He's trying to get me to go golfing at 6:30.
That's right.
And I'm like, that's not even a thing. Like
we had to make it for 7:10.
Yeah, we can't even do. Yeah, and I don't know how I'm gonna get there at 7:10 for that matter. Yeah. So how do you feel, Scott? How do you feel about? So I grew up in a family that was family business. My dad had a lot of drive and did a lot of different business stuff or whatever. Where do you land in that? Like, does that give you the entrepreneurship spirit to want to do that? Or does it more tend to make you want to be like, man, I don't want to do that. I see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Where do you fit in that?
Yeah, I understand for me, it's like, obviously there's like ups and downs, like running a business, but kind of seeing like just learning things every day from my dad and just like watch him run the business. It's something that like encourages me more to like take over maybe one day or something and like run it myself. Just I don't know, it interests me of doing that sort of thing.
So it's more of a pull than it is a push away.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And he's like talked to me many times. Like if there's something that I want to go and try and do something else, I'm more than welcome to go. Like there's no like
you don't feel like you're tied to it.
Exactly. Like there's no ties for me staying and keep working there. My brother, he doesn't have an interest. He's in the like medical sort of stuff, so he likes working at the hospital and doing his own thing, which
works for y'all.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So
no, it's awesome. Scott's always been wanted to get his hands dirty, liked in the farm equipment, always liked driving the tractors and figuring out all the little troubles that you would get into in farming and with equipment and so on. And Scott has always been good with trucks and trailers and backing up. A lot of times we say either you have it or you don't have it.
Absolutely.
For having to back up, because Scott's mother, when she's trying to back up a horse trailer, sometimes it's not a very good event.
Interesting.
I don't know if y'all have the same commercials up there we do, but down here a couple of years ago when they came up with the backup assist, there's this random one where they're pulling the little horse trailer.
Yes.
And there's all the horses standing out there watching. They're all laughing and they all fall over because it goes this way and that way.
That's right.
I know I've had truck drivers that came to work for me that they had 10, 12, 15 years experience. And when they start backing up, I just have to leave. It's like I can't even stand and watch this. I'm a little bit the same way when I would try to train my guys to haul sheds. I just want to do it myself and be done with it.
Right.
That's why Dad said at a young age, he said, you need something with a steering wheel, because we had chicken houses and the chicken trucks would show up and they couldn't get to our chicken houses. So I was a little old tight, couldn't even barely reach the pedals, and I would back their stuff in because we did like you. We had hay wagons, and you didn't just back a hay wagon, you backed the hay wagon behind the hay wagon.
Yes.
Or else you had the baler in between there,
And that is always really fun.
Yeah. So it's always, and you never lose it. Like, I don't think I ever go a week without backing a trailer because I'm always screwing around with something on them.
Right.
But I can, be gone 3 or 4 days and hook up to any of them, and they all back different because the wheels are all different. But it's something that you learn, and you either have it or you don't. That is 100%.
True. And Scott was, so he was able to haul sheds and, just doing some small deliveries when he had first got his driver's license at 16 in Canada, and then in Ontario, and then he turned 18 on his in September, and right away he went in and he got his the government sponsors people that would like to get into trucking, and
Really?
so he got at 18 years old he got his CDL, and or they call it an A license, AZ in Canada,
AZ.
CDL in down here in the US, and so he drives a Pete, and well they're the 579s, so they're not as nice as Woody's Pete's, but he is looking. He's been eyeballing one, and we were talking about Scenic View and looking at their nice trailer. He was looking at that one, a pintle hitch. He'd rather do that, and maybe do some of his deliveries that way. He likes having he really likes the Pete, and he loves Woody's
I just told you can't buy a Pete. You can't be driving Peterbilts.
Well, I guess a Kenworth.
He should be a Kenworth.
Yes, that's right.
Obviously. So the whole deal between Pete and Kenworth, I don't know if y'all know this. I'm going to let a cat out of the bag here. But everybody knows I boycott Buc-ee's. And they think it's because that it says no trucks. Okay. That's actually not why. It says no Kenworths. Oh. They picked on a W9 Kenworth on their sign. Oh. That's what's got me chapped. It doesn't matter about, I can live with all the rest of it, but they literally put a W9 on their sign and it said none of these. Oh. So, have you been to a Buc-ee's yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, well, don't ever go.
Yeah, I've seen you standing in front just recently.
I did a little video
I'm right here at Buc-ee's.
So, what, as far as on like the shed side, the business side of it, are you one of these that do you get happy where you're at, or are you constantly feeling like where can we go next? What can we do next? Do you do just sheds? Do you offer other stuff?
Oh my goodness, no! I'm the person, unfortunately, that just constantly wants to push the envelope and more different designs. We bring up, and then of course I learn from down here in Pennsylvania of different designs. So we sell, of course, sheds to dog kennels and chicken coops, horse shelters, horse barns, and
gazebos.
The gazebos. We introduced a wood shed combination, like a wood storage for burning wood. Yeah. So half of it is a shed and half of it is a wood storage. Greenhouses. We brought up the greenhouses a few years ago, and now everybody seems to have greenhouses.
So are your greenhouses wood frame, or do you do metal frame?
We do wood frame.
You do wood frame.
Wood frame with the
with floors, plastic. Without floors.
Most of them do come with floors.
Okay.
Some people have requested no floor, and we do that because we do a lot of custom stuff. We've been doing a lot of. We're just finishing up for a guy 3 different. He has 3 locations of ice cream serving sheds,
Okay.
And just different things. I just like having always different stuff and challenging our builders to make their dreams come true. So it's fun. That's what I really enjoy. And we got into the poly furniture, which was big.
Okay.
That's been very, very popular. And then of course all the stuff that comes after the poly furniture, like the wishing wells and the windmills and the lighthouses and bird feeders.
Absolutely.
It just doesn't stop. So it does take up a lot of it takes a lot of inventory and a big place to display all that. So it's fun.
You do that all at one place, or you have multiple places? Or
we have the 5 locations.
5 locations.
In
all of them
Ontario.
offer pretty much everything. So do you have like a retail store that's part of it to where I can go inside and look at some of this stuff? Or?
Correct. What we decided to do is we actually put a double wide, so they're 24 by 40, just like a double garage. So that's like the showroom, I guess you could say. And then we have
24 by 40.
Yes, to put all the furniture and all that stuff and all that,
I'm just trying to make sure I got the size. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 2 12 by 40s, and we just put them together. And so we're in New York State. It's a little. You have to stay at 12 wide, or else you need escort. So it's a little different. In Ontario, we can go to just over 13 feet. So just just to make things easier, we just made it 12 wide. The offices are bigger, but just for the displays of all the furniture and
looking at more locations.
Not really right now. We have a sister company that will buy sheds from us that is in Quebec, and it's part of the Kodiak group, and they so they'll sell our sheds for us up there.
Okay.
So the other thing, because they sell a lot of saunas, that's what they really got into.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're probably going to expand into at some point this year, is start carrying their saunas.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Hot tubs up there?
There's hot tubs. We sell the chilling
Cold plunge.
cold plunge stuff.
So the opposite
Isn't it
of
cold enough up there already? Just go jump in the lake.
Well, when you get out of the sauna or what have you, you go into the cold plunge. And
Yeah, now you took me back to Red Lake again, and now I have nightmares because my buddy had a sauna up there, and you'd go sit in there, and you'd think it was hot, and then they'd put the water over the rocks and steam you, and then you were supposed to run out and jump in the snow.
That's right.
I didn't run out and jump in the snow.
Oh, that's the best part.
Nope. It was, you can get me in a sauna and you can make it as hot as you want to, and I'll sit there with you until I pass out. I'm not jumping into ice water. I don't care if I've been in the sauna or not been in the sauna. That's not happening. We're not going there.
It's a really good feeling. It's very actually good for you.
Yeah,
And
I know. I've heard it's really good for me, but you know, there's other stuff that's good for me too that I've decided not to do at this point in life.
That's right.
So, do you guys how do you sell a shed up there? Do you have marketing like we do? Scott, have you become involved in the marketing side of it? You said you're studying the business side. Like, how do you market a shed in Canada? What do you do other than having a huge lot with all this cool looking stuff?
So yes, we have teamed up with My Shed and just like Cedar Creek Structures, and so we have the website and their visualizer. Of course, we market as much as we can through Google and marketplace ads and even Kijiji. Word of mouth is good, is our best seller for sure. And our locations usually on busy small highways type of thing. And that's how we usually market it. Scott sold and helped out when sales guys have to take some time off, but he hasn't gone and fully inside because he is in high demand at all locations. All the salespeople absolutely adore Scott, and because he's really easy to get along with, and you just ask him to do something and he does it. Whether it's repairs or talking to a customer and fixing something for them, he's been really, really good.
And obviously, he said he's looking at a Peterbilt. He's not looking at a laptop.
Yeah,
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. He'd rather be out on the road.
I'd rather be out. I mean, I don't mind doing like the sales stuff and that stuff. Like, I mean, it's nice to kind of switch it up once in a while and do different things. I mean, learning different things as well. But I'd rather kind of be the guy delivering the shed and stuff. So it's a little bit more fun to me.
I just have to tell a little story when Scott said delivering a shed. Well, a few stories there, but I won't get into them all. But when Scott was 18 years old, and he does still have a bit of a baby face, and he was really young and young looking, and he would deliver the shed, and he would pull in with, let's say, a 1224 or a 1230, a big shed, and the people would be looking on either side of the trailer and our truck and saying, well,
Where's the driver?
Where's the driver? They could not believe it was him. And as soon as he would hear that, he would say, oh, I'm going to get a tip. and he would just swing that trailer.
Oh, yeah.
He would swing that trailer in. And boy, the tips that he would make, I would deliver sheds and
we
I
don't
didn't
get
see anything.
No. I don't get tips either. I understand that. I have a son. He'll turn 32 this year. He looks younger than Scott.
Oh, wow.
And for years, so he's actually been, let me think a minute. He's been full-time music now for 8 years. but he hauled sheds with me for about 6 years. And he doesn't like driving. He definitely doesn't like backing up. But he would like a lot of times he would just go with me. And he's a little skinny dude, you know. He fits under sheds better than I do.
So does Scott.
And it actually, I'm still a firm believer that most guys would do better if they had a helper in the truck. You can only do so much by yourself. And if you're blocking sheds and you're underneath the shed and you need 2 more blocks, what are you going to do? You got to crawl back out, go get the block. If you're under there and you got another guy, they just sling another block in or whatever.
Right.
Loading, strapping, all that stuff. And I'm of the opinion that I can get a block slinger cheaper than I can get a Class A driver. Right. So why do I have my Class A driver slinging blocks? Why do I have my Class A driver doing anything besides driving? So we always did. We always had helpers in our truck. So he did. And there was many times they'd be like, aren't you supposed to be in school? And he'd be like, school? You mean like college? I'm done with college. Yes. You know, it's like he's already past that part. And they're like, I'm sorry. You know, it's like, you know, so I get that. You know, I'm sure you hear it a lot, you know. Yeah. What's your goal? What other than the Peterbilt? 4 Peterbilts? What's
Maybe
the goal?
one day.
A barnuminium. That's exactly what he's been wanting.
Shop, yeah.
Oh yeah, shop.
Yes, he wants a big
shop.
barnuminium.
A Woody shop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you and I
Something
walk
like
into a
that.
shop like Woody, and we're like, "Oh man, what we could do in here."
Yeah.
You know, you need to come see me sometime. Mine ain't as cool as Woody's, but that I'm a little bit like you. You know, I always wanted to have the shops and the trucks, and I don't mind getting greasy. My joints don't like me anymore, so it's not as easy to do as it used to be. That and in a business that we're in with like shed hauling and stuff involved. I mean, anytime you have something that involves mechanical in it, you're still better off doing it yourself if you can. Some people don't need to be. Just get that out of the way. They need to let somebody else do their stuff.
Yes, some people should be doing that.
But to
Yes.
have that in house, how important is? I mean, how valuable is that to you?
It's very valuable. Just before we left to come down here, there was 2 tires that needed to be changed, and I think there was something a light or something that wasn't working on the trailer. And boom, he had that all switched up in like half an hour, 40 minutes. I couldn't believe he had done it so fast. Yeah. I said, "You're done already?" So, and then
He's like, "Well, yeah, we got to go to Woody's."
That's exactly what happened. And we left early yesterday morning. And so it's great having it because, again, it's having all your the parts, the spare parts. And that's why I love coming down here, because we visit. Scenic View is our place that we usually go and see Chris and John. And we get all our tires and rims or brakes. We picked up a hub yesterday, and we bring all those parts back, and we just like to have everything in stock. So not that we can't get it in Canada, but it's just nice to have, because sometimes it's special to the shed trailers, and we just like having it because we don't like to be down.
Yeah,
we do have a spare shed trailer, but it gets used from time to time, but we want to always keep the trailers on the road. And so Scott, it's great having Scott and another guy, Owen, at our place, and they just, they'll fix the trailers and make sure they're always good to go and greased up. It's invaluable having it to be able to do it in house, and sometimes we have to send it out, and then you really see how much labor is.
No joke. You see how much it is. Sometimes I wonder if they just stand there and watch the clock go around too. It's, you can control that if you do it yourself.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Anytime you can do that, it makes a world of difference. And you do, when you come down here, you just don't come down and hang out at one spot. You get around.
We certainly do.
We were talking last night, sitting there eating, and we mentioned 3 places, and you'd been to all of them. It's like you get everywhere. That's just part of your drive of what you do. You want all your options available.
I love and down here, everybody is so accommodating. There's so much manufacturing going down here, and that I thrive on that sort of thing, and seeing, the way people do things differently. I just really enjoy it. One was at particular manufacturer down here, and he has a chain drive system that pulls his sheds from section to section. And I implemented that in our
you did?
plant. Yes. Oh, yeah. So it
So
starts
you
at
have
one
that?
end. Yes. Oh, yeah. So
Nice.
and they love it. Or I was like, just because the sheds can just move from section to section without any trouble. So I just love seeing those things and then bringing them up north or what have you, and like I said earlier, pushing the envelope, I guess.
So did you guys go through, during the pandemic, did you guys go through the same crazy growth spurt? Couldn't keep sheds on the lot. Everybody's buying everything. You had that whole same thing happen too?
Most definitely. It was unbelievable. We just couldn't produce them fast enough.
Yeah.
It was, and then of course people were, our season's a lot shorter.
True.
It's hard to deliver sheds usually in January, February. But, we try to go to, depends on how much snow falls in December, but we try to get to Christmas. So it's really only, call it 9 months, I guess, if you're lucky, 10. And, people were buying sheds in October, and we were lucky to get them delivered by Christmas, So it was people, and of course people, we tell them that you're 12 weeks out, but they didn't, sometimes they don't believe you.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, it was a huge growth spurt for us. It was challenging all at the same time, but fun. Like I really enjoyed it, and I got to meet a lot of people through that. So, it was
Scott, the pressure of getting sheds delivered,
It was
more or less same.
I mean, it was kind of the same thing, but it was just like there's always sheds to deliver. I mean, you can get up
Just get up and go haul sheds.
Exactly, pretty much, and then just like keep going every day, pretty much. I mean, you could go nonstop then, but
when it was going from delivering 3 sheds a day to 7, 8 sheds in a day.
Yeah,
and it was Woody would come in because he was like I said, when he was bringing in those sheds, he would bring 3 loads in a day to us because it was so close. New York State was just so close to us, so he would bring 9 sheds, and in our lots, you would get stuck for space. So I would tell the people, like our salespeople, they would have to tell them that they had 3 days to take delivery, or else we were having to move the sheds to a different lot to make room. So it was it had its challenges, but it was a good time, and we liked it a little slower, like it is now.
Did you run into the same material issues that some of the rest of us did as far as trying to find materials? And
most definitely,
same thing.
Yes, and it was interesting because you were able to find different materials to use, which we liked, because we sell a lot of board and batten up in our area because it's cheaper. So it's a lot of pine. The Amish cut the logs, and then like I say, sometimes it was a tree a week ago, which also created problems because it was green.
Still green.
It was still green, and which they still do. They've been doing that for years. But so that had some challenges as well. And but at least when they're doing their 2x4s and rough cut, people really enjoyed having or really liked having the true 2x4. Not like the 1.5 by 3.5 store bought. So people do still come back and ask for their sheds to be all rough cut. They like the finish.
There's still a market there.
Yes, not planed or anything.
We don't have those down by us, and I keep saying that somebody could come down there and make a killing by building rough cut sheds. I'm actually working with a guy in Tennessee trying to get him off the road to build sheds for me.
Yes.
They have a whole. I don't know if it's just due to that area right there, but they have hemlock.
Yes,
and I don't know if y'all use hemlock or not, but down by us, the bugs won't mess with it.
Correct.
And our bumblebees, carpenter bees, that drill through stuff, they won't drill in it.
Right.
So I'm like, if you get off the road, I'll have a shop build all your floors for you, so you don't have to do that. And then you just build me a rough cut board and batten shed on it,
Right.
And I'm still working on him, but I love seeing that in, New York and on up in the cool sheds. What's up, Woody? You ready for a party?
It is, absolutely.
Cool. I was telling him the first time I met him was right here in this same basement. You
was it
remember that?
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He brought us all syrup to make us feel good.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
Not like those other Canadian boys that, buy it and bring it to us. Where do you see so it's back to normal a little more, I guess.
Yes.
You feel like it is? I mean,
I think it is. I'm very comfortable where it is now. It's actually giving some breathing time in letting me explore a little bit of other options, stuff that's been sitting in my back pocket for a while.
There's always other stuff.
there's always other stuff.
Yeah. So
Does the man
it's
sleep
nice.
at night? Like, do you ever see him actually sleeping?
Maybe sometimes. I mean, I just pass out and I just wake up and he's already out.
And he's already there.
I mean, I'm assuming he's sleeping, but who knows?
Yes, it is funny.
That would be a little hard to follow. Yeah, so it's back to a little more comfortable. Where do you see it going?
Wow. You mean for us or the industry?
Or the industry for you and for the industry.
I think the industry will be there. I just see it for a long time. I believe that everybody needs a shed. People, tend to buy a lot of stuff that they don't have the room to store, type of thing. So storage sheds and just all the other animal structures that we have, playhouses and so on. But I really think it's still there and it's here to stay. And the LP is always innovating. We really like the Smart Side LP products, I should say, and they're always pushing the envelope as well. And I think it's great. As far as the industry is going, I think it'll always be thriving from everyone, from all the haulers, which are absolutely incredible people. Since we got involved several years ago, I just can't believe on how amazing the hauler group is and the brotherhood, and from the bashes and everything, and right to the shed expos, because we do everything from building to the delivery.
Yeah,
so we get to go to so many of the expos and the meetings and so on. They're just amazing people, and I think they're teaching other industries to be the same, and competitors can help each other out, and that's what I really enjoy. Is when we've done it up in Canada, where when there's another hauler that is in trouble, we go and help each other out, and it's happened several times. The early one this spring, and it's awesome to see, and we just love it.
So if you and the Goosens are both in Canada, y'all need help, you just run right across the street and help each other, right?
Yes, well, we were talking about that earlier, and the Goosens are actually further away from Pennsylvania to us in Ottawa than we are from Ottawa to London, Ontario, where they are, or Windsor. So they're 8 hours away, and we're 7 hours.
Most people just don't. It doesn't register how big it is how big that place is up there.
Yes,
and then from there to Red Lake is you might as well drive to Florida.
Exactly,
Pretty much.
When we went across Canada, we left from Ottawa and we drove to Manitoba, and it was 24 hours of straight driving to get out of just out of the province, which is like the state. You're right. Yeah. So it's incredible. It's like the size of Texas.
So I'm with you. I feel like it's obviously we have to go back to work. There for a while, it seemed like we were working just to stay away from work. Now we have to get back to work a little more. But the industry is solid. It's not going anywhere. We can figure out how to still market and how to still work together. And there's plenty there for everybody.
That's right.
I like the fact that you brought up that you can work with the competition. It's all part of the big picture. Do you, as far as on the Canada side of it, do you offer can you offer finance to your customers? Do you have rent to own?
So
what do you have available?
We do financing, so we do a lot of financing. We're talking actually with the Goosens, Cedar Creek Structures, in regards to finding an RTO company. And we little bit of groundwork was done in Tennessee. Not as much as to get anything launched, but we would like to have the RTO and understand it a little bit more. Scott and I like watching it on the haulers page.
Oh yeah,
some of the and we had some pretty good stories last night. But
are you saying your life needs to be a little more exciting?
I mean, I don't know that exciting on some of the photos, or videos or whatever. But, I mean, make it a little bit more interesting, I guess.
Yeah, so we'll see about the RTO, but definitely financing. We do that.
Okay,
so that's been very good.
That's good. Still, like percentage wise, most of it's still cash sales.
Well, yes, cash sales are. Yes, it is cash sales because I think you guys do the same thing, but we're allowed to charge a percentage if people use a credit card. So we do that because we get charged.
Yeah.
So that became legal in Canada just a year or two ago, and now most of the people honestly is debit or e-transfer. That's the biggest thing is e-transfer. It's fantastic. Our drivers don't need to carry cash or checks. We don't like to take checks unless they're bank drafts are certified.
Yeah.
But
you even have to watch those.
Yes, you're right. So we just love it. It's instantly in our account. It's done, and we really like that. And the same thing with the financing. If they just do it, and finance is so cheap, so quick and easy for them. Right at our shop, they do it within 60 seconds. They're approved, and our drivers just do a couple of taps on the phone, and boom, it's in our account. They have approval, and off they go.
Yeah. Cool. Anything you want to wrap up with? Like what do you want the shed industry to know about you guys?
I don't really know what. We're any different. Everyone tends to think that Canada is super cold up there, and we're very far away. At the Pine Hill anniversary dinner, we were talking with some guys from Tennessee, and when they found out we were from Canada with our accent, I said, well, how long did it take you to get here? And when he found out we were only 6-7 hours away, he was like, wow, you're close. Canada's that close. Yeah. So it was interesting, but I don't know. We just like to build and sell a good quality product, really, and we learn a lot from everybody else.
Well, you guys fit the industry very well. You got to be willing to get your hands dirty a little bit, and you got to be willing to do what others don't want to do, and you guys do that well. Team players, you support the industry well. It's always fun to have y'all around.
Well, we appreciate it.
It's always fun to have you around and have good times. Woody's party here we're gonna have a blast here.
We certainly are.
So, yeah, it's the picture doesn't just end in our own little territories. It's a big picture.
Right.
And I actually feel like that helps us all maybe have a better feel of what the industry really is. Sometimes, for years I did it all on I was the only hauler around. I didn't have anybody to talk to. Now they talk on the phones. Are you on one of those deals too where you talk to them all day long on the phones with each other and stuff? I was like, oh my word. Some of these guys. I know certain ones that
across the table there.
Man, they sit on the phone for 4 hours.
Right.
It's like but it makes you feel like you're part of the team, which means you're not alone.
That's right.
And that to me ultimately is what I like to see, in the fact that if we all work together, we'll get a lot more done. Even if I come into your area and I blow up and advertise like crazy, it ends up helping you. If you come into my area and you do that, it ends up helping me. We all work together. We're looking at putting in some big lots, mega mart stuff.
Yes.
And people are like, aren't you, you're supposed to be like this main guy of the shed industry that wants everybody to work together. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm the first guy that says that competition's good for each other.
That's right.
You can still, so in my area of South Carolina, I know for a fact where 53 lots are, within 30 minutes of my house.
Wow.
Okay? There's sheds everywhere. 13, 14, 15 manufacturers. I can't even keep up with them all anymore. I walk into the Waffle House, and I ask the waitress, I said, where do you put all your stuff in your backyard? And she goes, in a building. And I'm like, well, where would you get that building? She goes, Home Depot.
Wow.
Every time. Home Depot or Lowe's. I'm not, that's not who I am.
No.
I want them to mention me or my competition.
That's right.
One of those 53 lots that Lowe's and Home Depot aren't counted of.
Correct.
You know, I don't have nothing against Lowe's and Home Depot. Just get that out of the way. But, you know, and down at home, Tough Shed is who's actually on the Home Depot and the Home Depot lot. They're not saying Tough Shed. They're saying Home Depot. They don't even know that.
Correct.
So we have a long ways to go yet before we get the recognition up that we should have as to what we can do. And there's some really good stuff out there. You know, my shed has good stuff. There's so much stuff available now that it's cool to see. You know, I'm always griping about every time I go to the expo, there's like 15 more, you know, everybody's doing it now. But
Right.
That's good. I'm glad there's more people doing it. You know, there's more ways to get the word out than just a podcast. There's more ways to get the word out than just a magazine. You know, we would never put all our advertising in one spot. We did radio, TV, marketplace. We used to do Craigslist.
Yes.
You mentioned Kijiji.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I was like, oh, I remember that. You
Yeah.
know, I've heard of that. And I have not thought of that, you know, in a long time.
That's right.
But why would you not use all the tools in your toolbox? Use them all.
exactly. Especially if they're free. It's nothing to, quickly advertise in there. So
Yeah.
it's great. But I just wanted to say also a big thank you here to Woody when we talked about, or he mentioned that he was going to be having this 40th anniversary party. It was a no-brainer. It was going to be kind of a surprise that we were going to be coming down, but Woody caught me off guard one time when he was visiting, delivering a load up to us, and so kind
You
of
couldn't
let the
come
cat
up
out
with
of the
a
bag.
good story?
No, exactly. The cat let the cat out of the bag and said we were coming down, but we wouldn't miss it at all. Woody was just
I would have been
integral.
surprised if you wouldn't have been here.
Yes, he's been just amazing
Yeah.
to me and to my family, to Scott especially, and
Yep.
all the from all the sales lots, they just adore Woody. That even our Amish builders that we have, they even said to say hi and to tell them congratulations for 40 years. It's just amazing. They really enjoy him, and he's just he's a legend. That's what I tell people when they say you're going down to see a hauler.
No, he's the shed father.
That's right.
He's at the top there. You know, and there's other guys around here. If they would just step up and tell their stories, there's other guys that have been here that have done it that long. He has some of his best friends here that I know that he has. You know, Picker. He talks about Picker a lot.
Yes.
You know, I would love to get Picker on the show, but you know, it's up to everybody to decide where your comfort level is and what you want to do. Scott even said he doesn't talk, so
No, I don't talk much.
we can get him. So here's your opportunity. You want to trash talk anybody in the hall? And you know, you got somebody out. Nobody. You got
no
nothing.
trash talking.
No trash talking.
No.
Canadians can't deliver sheds better than South Carolinians, or you know, like nothing.
None of that.
Who's? I'm gonna put you on the spot just a little bit, but and you can say you don't have anybody, but you get on the hauler page. Who are you looking for? Like who's like, because I do it all the time. I get on the hauler page and I'm like, I hope so and so, you know, is behaving, or because some of them stir up trouble. Some of them always put these, you know, Abner's always stuck in the mud,
Right.
you know, or in the juice. I don't know anybody gets in. You have any favorites or?
I mean, not really, but I mean, I'd choose a Canadian, fellow Canadian, would probably be Alex. So I always see him posting on there, so I just probably choose him.
Yeah, I like.
That's fair enough.
I like Abner. I really like Abner and Paul. He doesn't post as much as he used to. Paul Stallnacker.
Yeah. Hey, good
he's
shout.
awesome.
That's a good call out for him. He needs to get busy. He's kind of been missing for a while.
Yeah. So, and of course, if ever chasing,
Whenever
You know.
he's around.
so
Yeah.
those are
Well,
always the
and you
ones.
did kind of allude to the fact you like seeing all the drama from the pickups. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we won't
that's,
call those guys out, but we all know who they are. A couple twin brothers out in Texas somewhere that are always in trouble.
We love that. It's a lot different. Even we were talking last night about when for packing or for bulletproof vests and the cameras. We wouldn't even dream of having that up. Honestly, in Canada,
Yeah.
I mean, thank goodness. To be honest with you, but. Maybe it would be if you're going to take someone's shed, but they haven't paid for it.
It's
You never know. It we might see that bad side of Canadians.
So I've been on both sides of those situations. I've been to where I try to de-escalate a situation, and then there's other times when that's not going to happen, and you got to step up and do something.
Right.
So I'm a little bit of in the middle on that, I guess. I can see both sides. Where a lot of people, they get stuck. Oh man, you don't need none of that. What are you doing? You're just making it worse, And well, not always. Sometimes it does. I can go both ways on that pretty quick.
Right.
And I do understand, if you show up unannounced and you decide to take off with somebody's shed with a bad attitude, that somebody's going to throw something at you.
Right.
I mean, it's a given. It is what it is. So anyway, it's been good. We're pretty much out of time. Unless you want to do 2 episodes in one. Scott's like, no, we don't need to do that.
When you asked us this morning, it was a very surprise, but we're very happy that you did choose us.
I have to have my, I got to get you convinced by, making sure you want to do it. But thanks for your willingness, and thanks for everything you guys do, for always being willing to help. Always showing up. Like, I don't have to ask you if you're coming to Texas or if you're coming to the next get together. You guys, if you can, you're going to be there. I mean, it doesn't always work, but that's part of what makes us all work together very well. And wish you the best. Blessings on your business up there, your travels as you come back and forth, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Sam. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Cool. Anyway, you've had the chance to listen to another episode of the Sam Ambassador Friday Fun Day. And I hope you all had fun.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.